All right.
All right.
Welcome to 2026. Welcome to, I think it's like season 3 or 4. I don't even know. Lost count, but thanks, Chris, for coming in.
You're welcome.
Been a long time. Been trying to get you for a couple of years. We finally got you in here. So excited to have you on. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for joining us. So Happy New Year. I had a friend of mine who gave me a hard time about saying Happy New Year like 5 days after, but it's first podcast of the year. So Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everyone had a great holiday. So tonight is episode 87. So everyone gets an introduction. So start off with an introduction. How's that sound?
It'd be great.
So tonight I'm honored to sit down with former U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Chris Sanders, a combat veteran, advocate, and a man who has turned his own battles into a mission to save others. Chris was born in Augsburg, Germany, and raised in Marion, Ohio, in a proud multi-generational military family. With service in his blood, he enlisted in the Army in 1995 and went on to serve 18 years, deploying twice to Iraq before being medically retired. His service earned him multiple awards, including the Combat Action Badge, Army Commendation Medals, and numerous achievements. But the toughest fights came for him after the uniform came off. Following his medical retirement, like many of us, Chris faced the realities of PTSD, trauma, and recovery head on. Instead of stepping away, he stepped up, founding 2 organizations, Too Tough to Talk and CDCMHI, 2 organizations dedicated to reducing suicide and supporting mental health for veterans and construction workers. He also created a Veterans Assistance Fund to help Marion-area vets with critical needs the VA cannot cover. Chris is a husband, father, and proud grandfather, who we'll talk about more here in a little bit, who finds peace outdoors, camping, riding his Harley across the country, and exploring with his family. But at his core, he is a man who lives to serve and to make others laugh. We hope to talk about that as well, too. So even if it means sacrificing his own dignity along the way. Tonight, we'll talk about resilience, PTSD, suicide prevention, recovery, and the power of taking care of one another. Please join me in welcoming Chris Sanders to episode 87 of Pours with Patriots. So, like I said, thanks for coming on, Chris. It's been a couple years ago, I think, right?
Yeah, I think about 2 years we started talking. I'm glad we can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, last year we couldn't get you on there, but I'm glad it worked out.
Absolutely.
And we're all alone. We're kind of, it's just him and I tonight. It's just kind of interesting. So I'm multitasking. So I apologize to anybody if it seems like I'm fiddling. I miss Josh.
Yeah.
So hope you're having fun in Japan, Josh. But we'll start off with a quote as we always do. I'll have Josh remind me, but let's talk a little bit about your MS as we start. But this is from Brendan Fuhrer. The medics generally see the worst of the worst. They see everything. They're working on their friends and they're working on their enemy. The person that was just firing at them, trying to kill them 5 minutes ago, if any Army medic stumbles upon him and he's still alive, he just goes to save his life. So I'm always, in all of you guys that were medics, it's one of the things that I definitely don't think, I know for a fact I wasn't my jam.
Yeah, it's a different MOS for sure.
So. It wasn't my jam for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll start off like we always do. Let's talk about growing up. You born in Germany, like my sister.
I was.
How old were you when you moved over here back to Ohio?
I was still a baby, so under a year. So I don't remember any of it, but proud to be able to say I was born on an Army base somewhere else. So
yeah. Had the dual citizenship for a few years.
I did for a while. Yeah,
pretty cool.
That was neat. So 18, I had a choice. I had to sign a waiver, and here I am.
I'm assuming you chose the United States over Germany, but cool. So let's talk about you moved back, growing up in Marion, Ohio. What brought your dad back to? Is that where your dad's originally from?
It's from my mom. Was from my dad was from there too, but mom was from there, so I was with my mom, and dad was still in the service, so moved back there with my grandparents and the rest of my family. So just a real tight knit, small family growing up. The old man on my Sanders side, we got a lot of military in that side. My grandfathers, my uncles, 2 grandfathers, one on my mom and dad's side, 1 grandfather. World War II. My brother or my uncles were in Vietnam. I had a cousin, Desert Storm. Dad was in Desert Storm, and I was in the Iraq conflict. So, yeah, it was a different world when you got multi-generation.
Yeah. So I take it mom and dad divorced then? Is that
they did?
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Father, if anybody's been to Germany, you know what Germany has, lots of beer, and just didn't work out for them too. So Dad ended up moving Northern Ohio up in Toledo, and seen him occasionally, you know what I mean? But stayed with my mom.
So was that like growing up, no dad? And
That was tough. You know, my father is a great man. We talk all the time, but he's definitely been dedicated to the military his whole life. When growing up, you know, it was occasionally being able to see him, you know. I remember, you know, whether it was military or work or whatever, just waiting to see him all the time. But, you know, I got to see him 2-3 times a year. That was very tough. Now, the rest of the family was in Marion, so the rest of the Sanders side was around, but that was a hard one for me growing up.
So how many brothers and sisters?
I have 2 stepsisters, sisters-in-laws, half sisters, and I got a stepbrother. So all of them, none of them lived with me. So kind of grew up an only child in that aspect. So
is there any type of, you know, like with your mom, you know, raising you on your own and, you know, the stuff,
yeah,
the divorce, was there any kind of stuff that, you know, how was that growing up, only child in that?
But I mean, I had a great childhood. You know, my stepdad raised me as one of his own. He's a father. I don't even call him stepdad typically unless we're talking with both of them together. No issues with my childhood in that way. But when you have a divorced family, you know, it's tough. When you don't see your father very often, like that's a really tough thing as a young man. Being raised in that military type environment, not having your father. My stepfather was a great man, but he was, you know, like a white collar worker, you know, so he taught me a lot of other things, but there was a lot that I was missing from my dad. So that affected me in ways.
So when do you think you started missing your dad? Like what age, is there an age where you were like
teenagers, you know what I mean? Like 13, 14, when, you know, you're trying to learn, you know, how to be a man. And again, my stepfather taught me a lot, how to be a good person and how to survive in the world and be business savvy. But I was looking for the hunting or the outdoor, you know, side of it. And I mean, they tried without a doubt. But I didn't have anybody teach me that. And I think that's what lured me to the military even more. You know, I was pretty dedicated by the time I was 14 or 15, like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say about 13.
So what was young teenage Chris like?
Pain in the ass, pain in the butt. Sorry.
I love it. Yeah. No. Me too. I still am, but that's okay. Cool.
I was very unruly, a lot of attitude, a lot of disrespect. I thought, you know, I can rule the world and I can do what I want, you know, probably typical teenage boy, you know, for most of us. But I also had a sense, like my mom and dad taught me back then. I mean, I did Boy Scouts and stuff like that even back in then. You know, I knew what was right and I knew what was wrong. But I got in a lot of fights, and I think that was just a little bit of my angst of being, you know, single kid and, you know, people not around or whatever as much as I want them to be. So I think that was just my way of venting back then. No serious trouble.
Yeah, I can relate to being like the rebellious. It's always interesting that because there's so many people that I feel like they think we go into the military because we're all these like hardcore rule followers.
Yeah.
I think it's almost the exact opposite sometimes. So how was school? How were you in school?
Great. I mean, I've always been good at the school, so I got great grades and, you know, attendance, you know, obviously just didn't want to go.
It was a challenge.
Yeah. Getting up in the morning was not my cup of tea. So I had some problems there, but no, I mean, I got great grades and, you know, advanced placement, this and that. That was never an issue for me, like a lot of people.
Yeah,
love sports.
What sports you play?
Football, baseball, soccer. I mean, I wrestled for a while. I mean, it's just anything active. So school was, I had to do school so I could do my sports and, you know, and anything I wanted to do after that. But so I think that kind of kept me on the straight and narrow as much.
Yeah, I was the same thing with schools. Like you had to go to school. There's no choice. But then like sports was always just a way to. Yeah, I mean, for me, like sports was the way not to be home. Yeah, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
you know, there's like, but you know, it was different. You know, it wasn't like it is today where mom and dad were with you at the sporting events. You kind of away from the house. You know, I mean, it was the opportunity for me not to get back until, you know, 6 o'clock or whatever. And it was also, you know, opportunity to look good. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I got a lot of praise from my dad, and
Yeah.
or mom when you do well
Yeah.
in sports? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think baseball was more for my stepdad. Like, I love baseball, but I mean, that was his sport. And,
Yeah.
football was more of a way for me to get the aggression out without getting in trouble. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Baseball is my number one sport, I'd say. So,
nice.
and I skied. I used to ski like every day.
Really?
I think about that a lot, about probably from the time I was like, shit, 11 or probably like 10 or 11 maybe,
Nice.
start to ski. But then like I haven't skied now since probably 2009.
Yeah, I can't even tube without hurting myself, so I'm not even trying.
Well, my youngest is the only skier in our family, and he always talks a lot of shit about how he can out ski me. And I'm like, dude, I still think I can take you, especially with like the new technology and stuff. I'm like, dude, I used to race and stuff like that. So I'm like,
Nice.
oh man, like I think I still can take him on that. But
At
yeah,
least
I
one
feel like
time,
as long
right?
as I don't fall down, then I'll be okay. But
Yeah.
I'm only a couple of falls away from.
Yeah. Breaking
So,
a hip. You don't want to do
We're
that.
down. I'm breaking it up. Just saying, I'm done with this. I'm not. I want to go back to the lodge and hang out.
Yeah.
Sit by the fireplace.
There you go.
So you did talk about, you got a lot of people in your family, your dad, obviously, grandfather, uncles. You talked a little bit about feeling that gravitational pull to the military. Like you said, when did you feel that? It's just like, when did you sense that like, as well as like, I'm seeing stuff in life, my stepfather, father's a white collar guy. Why did you see yourself, or when did you feel yourself getting drawn towards that path?
I mean, I was in my single digits easy, like 7, 8, 9. I just knew somehow I knew that's what I wanted. Everybody picked something, but the military was what I picked. So I really wanted to serve. I've always been patriotic. My family's, everything about America. So I watched and listened to a few stories from my grandfather. I listened to stories about my uncle that passed away in Vietnam. I listened to my family and what they did. I had a cousin that was on an aircraft carrier. I think that gave me like a sense of purpose at a young age. And then, my grandfather on my mother's side would talk about World War II. And I think that's what did it. I wanted to make them proud of me as I was of them serving. So I think that started as a young age. But once I hit my teenage years, like I knew, like I couldn't wait. At 17, I enlisted. My parents signed the paper because they knew it was going to happen anyways. So,
yeah.
It was a destiny thing for me.
Yeah, I think it's funny you say. Sorry, I'm listening to you, but I just gotta do some other stuff here. But yeah, I think it's funny because I always ask that question because I felt the same way because I've shared a lot about what it is. My dad was, that's all I knew, right? I grew up in a military time, so like just surrounded by not only my dad, but you see all these people like, and it's funny. I think about this a lot. Is there's a lot of guys like I would look at my dad, and there's a part of me that would be like, man, my dad's pretty cool. But then I'd see somebody else, and I was like, man, this guy's way cooler than my dad, or like this guy's done more. So I think that was, but there was a sense of like to me it was like familiarness, right? Like, and like I didn't know what else to do. My when you think about it, when you would talk to my dad, who's not an easy guy to talk to, like you'd ask about stuff. Like there was nobody, like I was the first person like even talking about going to college.
Yeah.
And there's a part like I didn't really know what else was out there really. And I mean, there wasn't a conversation. So part of me was like that familiarity with it. Like I knew, it kept me comfortable, but then there was also a part like I've talked about before is like, it was a great way to get the fuck out of my house. And it was a great way to do something. Like that's the thing about the military is like, you can outdo other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, honestly, like that, and that's what I liked about, and I hate to say it. And my dad, he's not here tonight, but it was really like a lot of it was like, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do better than my dad just to prove him wrong. Right. That whole, that thought process of a young teenager, like, 20-year-old. But yeah, there was a familiarness to it. Like I like for me, at least, like, and the same thing with you is like growing up with it, like that's all you talked about. Like my dad didn't know anything. Like my dad had like a job for like a year after he got back from Vietnam, but he went back in there. So
yeah,
there wasn't a big reference to talk to him about other things. And it's not like today where you can get on the internet and look at a bunch of stuff. Right? Yeah.
I just remember in my father's house up north, like there was 83rd ARCOM, everything from recruiting and all that, where he was involved in different aspects of the battalion. But like, I mean, my pins in school had an Army symbol on them. You know,
Yeah.
it was just ingrained, like you said. It's just something you've seen so many times. Like it was just part of your next step.
Yeah, and you used a big word, I think, because it was funny. Like all those things that were going on in me, it obviously, like you get a purpose, right? You like, holy shit, you feel good, you feel important, you look good, you know, you're doing something that, you know, I as much as all those things I'm saying about why I did it, there's still a part of me that wanted to serve, right? Absolutely. Obviously, you're not going to do that if you don't, but like it's just really interesting how I think about this a lot. I'm like, man, I really didn't have. Like, what else ought there be? I don't know what else I would have done. I can imagine like walking up and saying, hey, I'm going to go to, you know, SUNY, Albany and major in art. I can't imagine what that conversation would have looked like. Yeah. Cause I wasn't like, I was into those things, but I can't imagine having that conversation, you know? But yeah. Yeah. It seems very similar in that aspect of it, but I did feel like there still was a pull to it, you know?
Absolutely. I don't know if I ever said like I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or you know, an engineer or anything like that when I was a kid. Like I don't think I ever said anything other than I'm going to join the military.
Me too, because there's a huge part of me that felt I'll say it, and I probably should, but that self-defeating behavior. But I didn't feel like I was smart enough to do that too either. A lot of that stuff too was like it was, and again, it came down to me. A lot of it was just not applying myself at the time. I just really didn't find it appealing. Like I did what I needed to do to get through school. And again, there was that whole thing of like, I didn't think there was a lot of other options for me either.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about that sense of belonging. Like I didn't know that's what it was really like. I was probably looking for until I got in. Then I definitely felt that, you know, like this, I've made a good choice. This is where I belong. So.
With all the other dysfunctional
people just like us,
with all the broken toys
like, hey,
at one spot. I love it.
This crowd.
Wow, I feel pretty normal. Oh my god. Wow, I'm the same as that guy from Louisiana. Yeah, that's so cool. So, what made you decide to join the reserves and not go active duty? What's your thought process then?
So, a lot of that was my family. So, I was basically given choices: either go active duty or get a degree, join the reserves. I did want to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to go for. Like I said, I was only focused on that first step. So I did choose reserves, went to school, got some degrees. You know, one of the things I remember my grandfather saying to me when I was about 16, he's, you know, whatever you do, you got to do everything, do it all, you know, finish it. So to me, I took that as like I had to retire from the reserves. A lot of my family did 1 tour, 2 tours, you know, that was fine as long as they served. But I felt like by going into the reserves solely, I had to do the full length and almost made it. Got close, a couple of years out, but
no one's keeping score, man.
No, nobody's keeping score anymore.
I used to keep score a lot. Yeah, I always felt a lot of guilt about getting out early. Because especially the shit I would say to other people when they got out early, and then you're like, that's okay. Yeah, we did our.
Yeah,
you know,
you did our share. No matter what that is, I'm good with that.
So you go to school to be a 63 whiskey medic. Come back. What are you doing when you're not drilling for that first 2 years?
In the reserves, you got to carry an MOS of the reserve unit. So I was 77 whiskey water purification. Not very fun. A lot of Pauly Shore jokes apply here. But you know, actually, all right.
Yeah, I love that because I have such a great story about that, which is so true.
It was a cool job. I mean, I know it's, you know, the movie made it not very fun after you got the MOS.
Because I'll interrupt you on that. It's funny because I had the same thing when I went on active. You know, when I went on to my basic course, there's a guy who was probably enlisted reserves, Gary Brown, and he was a water purification guy. And of course, he started bringing it up. And one day he just honestly says, hey, him and his buddy joined in the buddy program. Remember, said the buddy program to join? Yeah. And they literally just say, hey, because he's one of the few guys who had a combat patch. So this is like 1994. Okay. And so, you know, we're and he's talking about it and we're like, well, what made you join that? And he's like, we honestly picked an MOS where we thought, what the hell? We're never going to go anywhere. And he's like, we were actually the first people to go over to Desert Storm for water purification. We're like, wow. And he's just like, bad decision. You know what I mean?
I would say mine's simpler. It was in my hometown, right? And it had a $5,000 bonus back then, which is the highest they had. So I was like, I'm taking it.
You're like, I'm on the way. I'm on the way. So what were you doing on the civilian side?
At that time, I was working like at Wendy's. I was doing epoxy flooring. I mean, just no real job. My sergeant at the time, Sergeant Livengood, he actually works with me now, but he said, man, come join the Carpenters Union and get a career going, you know? And I did the same thing with him as I probably did with you. I was like, oh, sounds good, but I don't know. Let me look at it and think about it. And about a year later, I became his apprentice. So it was kind of a neat, you know, in the reserves, obviously in the 90s was a little bit different, the reserves then, but you know, here's this mentor of mine that taking me under his wing at work, also in the military, teaching me, you know, how to be a good soldier. But I did that, and I've been there in the union, working for union companies since. So
yeah, it's funny you bring that because I haven't thought about it in a while, but like Russ Larry was our supply sergeant and our guard unit, and that's the same thing. Like you said before, like he was always looking out for me in a different way. Yeah. Like that, like, you know, some snot nose, you know, young guy, and then like, but he's always was just looking out for me. Like, and those guys were. It was funny. It was like a family. You know, and it has changed. I mean, it wasn't like it was, but I've been, you know, I think about him pretty often, up in his compound in New Hampshire, enjoying life. But there's just a lot of lessons learned from him, and like really looking out for me. And
I mean, he was my big brother, you know, still is.
Yeah.
So I mean, we talk almost daily, and not so much daily anymore. We both work for the same company in different areas, but no, he was like the big brother, even in my personal life when I was going through things. He's the one I went to.
So what was your hesitation to take the leap to become a carpenter?
Again, at that point in my life, you know, I didn't think about anything past joining. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I knew I can go to college. I knew I can do well in school. I just got lucky that way with schooling, but I just did not know what I wanted to be, you know? So I had my identity now. I was on a straight and narrow, no longer getting in trouble and all of that. But then it was like, well, what do I do? I need to make money. I need, you know, and then I started thinking about family, and I started thinking about long-term. So the carpenter gave me the job, gave me mentorship with Matt, gave me benefits long-term. So I jumped into it, and I'm going to be honest, like the first week I got that check, it was not what I made before doing, you know, overtime out the butt, but he told me the best advice I ever got. And he was like, you got to look long-term. And I'd never looked long-term before. And I really thought about that, and I stayed with him, and I'm glad I did.
So that was like how many years after you?
I would say like a year later. Okay. You know, maybe 18 and a half, somewhere around there. But
so what was that 18 and a half months, and what were you doing? Just job? I mean, what was going on in your head? Was it just whatever, you know, having fun? And,
I was having a good time. You know what I mean? I was, you know, going out, partying it up, going to the clubs, going downtown, stuff like that. I mean, I didn't have that. Like I said, I was just living in a moment, you know. I got what I wanted. Now I'm enjoying it. I didn't know what was next.
So what was it like starting in the carpentry?
It was humbling. You know, they tell you to go get this stud and 18 gauge, 12 foot, 3 and 5 stud. And you're over there and you're like, okay, I'm not dumb. I can read a tape measure. Okay, here we go. What's a stud? You know, I had no idea. So it was humbling being somebody's apprentice, especially somebody that knows you. It's like working for your dad, right? Like they let you struggle for a while before they actually tell you like, hey, this is how you do it. But I'm telling you, that's the best way. I would recommend that to anybody, you know, to get that friend to teach you something. But he made me a better person, better man, better carpenter.
Yeah, I think I always think like, because I think my generation, I'm a little, like, just a few years older, and I consider we're probably the same generation. But there was that like, and I'm glad it's changing now. But there was like these people that were like, it was like looked down on to that.
Oh, it definitely was.
To, you know, to do the trades and all that kind of stuff. Like I can't, you know, and still today, you still see it today. You'll see somebody that'll be like, you ask them questions about their kids, and I'm like, oh, one's a nurse and one's this, and then they'll be like, but my other son, he's like, you know, he's a plumber or something. You're kind of like, man, it's I'm glad to see that's changing. Like there's guys like Mike Rowe that like are hitting. I mean, there's some big stuff that like I feel like that something has to change because there's so many different. It's different, right? Like I mean, college worked out for me. The reality is it doesn't work out a lot for a lot of people, but I feel like that's still the message of today. You have to go to college, you have to get this degree to be successful, and I don't think that's the case anymore.
No.
It's
doesn't hurt you by any means. I'll never not say education's not good. You're going to learn something if you want to learn something, but just because you have a piece of paper doesn't make you good at anything.
Yeah, I think I look more of just like when it comes to look like, being able to work with your hands. I've always been like in awe when you see somebody do that, but it did come to like, so some people, I think all those things are natural. I think there's some people are better at it. But it's like the same thing. It's like any other job. You just start at the bottom and do that. I mean, I remember when we moved here in 2014, we had some electric work done and there's a young guy who came I can't, like Angie's List or whatever those things to find people, but he came and just I'm like the nosy talker. So when if somebody comes and works on something, I'm a lot of the times I'm like right there because number one, I want to learn how to do it, and then I just think it's weird to have somebody working around in your house and you can't watch them. But just talking to him, and I'm like, I'd go up into the attic and I'm like, don't you have he's on his own. He just started this business. And I'm like, it's like, dude, I get guys that do this for like a week and they bolt. Like they just go to lunch, they don't come back.
That's hard work. Yeah.
And then like, I remember calling him like 5 years later about something to do something. And he's like, yeah, I got a big contract out in New Albany. I got 15 guys to work for me. And he's like, I'll send one of them out. And I'm like,
nice.
That's awesome to see that. But I mean, you got to imagine that guy's, he's running his own business, and it's just, I think in today's world, it's one of those things of like, the trades. I think I feel bad because my generation started, and I get it, I get that, I get where my mom and dad were with it of like, that seemed to be the way to a better life, But in today's world, it's not always the case,
I mean, there's a lot of stereotypes that go with it, right? The heavy drinkers, drug users, this and that. But the truth is these folks may not be able to run a computer, but they can run the trim in your house beautifully. They know how to do compound miters, and they can do math in their head. And it's finding, to me, it was finding something I enjoyed and I was good at. Like, I'm not the best carpenter in the world, but I'm okay. I held my own enough to keep my job for a long time. But, there's plenty of people better than you, but you see that, like, I'm in a race for myself right now. My quality is what I'm looking at. Right. So that's what I enjoyed about it, and then you can go back and look at, a hospital downtown or a mall that you worked on, and you can point up and be like, I built that,
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things about it when you think about it. You're exactly right. But I'm always in awe of like, to be honest with you, like a plumber, like it's come here and done some stuff, and they like know it's a profession. You know what I mean? And it's a profession that like, why do we look down? And I think it was a time of when it was like, hey, but I also think it's an important thing to do. I mean, I think it's, the great thing for nowadays is you have the internet, where you can,
learn.
Everybody can be a plumber today if you want to be, I don't dick around with electricity. That's one thing I'm like, I'm not messing with. I've been shocked a couple times. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm terrified that I'm gonna start a fire or something, but everything else, I'm like, I'll give it a go. What's the worst gonna happen,
Well, look around at a gas station now. When you go there, I guarantee you'll see at least one construction worker there. Yeah. It's just amazing how many construction workers are in the market now.
Yeah. I think nowadays, I think you just have to, it's like you said before, I think there was definitely a push of like, to be successful, that meant, you're the tail end of that generation. Like, to be successful, that meant you went to college.
Yeah.
It really didn't matter what degree you got, right? No. Just as long as you went to college. And then we just wonder why these kids, it's not for them. It's like you said before, like some of the smartest people I know don't have a college degree.
None of my education is needed for what I do. It helped me, sure. But I think I could have got it a different way too. So.
Yeah, I want to sound like I'm shitting on getting a degree, but there's some different parts of it that it's a different challenge, a different way of thinking. But I think it's just, you got to figure out. I think those all can converge onto the same type of thing to be successful and to find a profession.
With no student loans.
Yeah. You look at it, it's crazy. I've been listening to Mike Rowe a lot. Like everyone knows him from like Dirty Jobs, but he's it's really cool. I don't know if you're familiar, but he's doing, he does a lot of grants to people, and he's got a bunch of rules you have to follow to do it. And it's kind of interesting to say, but he's the type of guy that sees it all the time. And if you talk to him, there's some numbers of like some scary numbers that are going on in the United States when it comes to like blue collar stuff,
Absolutely.
like he talks about someone's, like everyone was aware of what was happening in New Albany, with the Dell plant and how many people they brought in there. But he's just talking about all these jobs where he gets calls and says, "Hey, do you know how to find like 1,500 electricians that need to start next month?" It's like, so there's definitely, I think, one of those. It's an interesting path, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're busing labor in from other states to even here in Central Ohio to staff some of these jobs. So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I was talking to somebody about the Dell plant. Again, like I pay attention to what I want to pay attention to, like most people. But when you start listening to people, it's interesting to have that. But that was the guy I was talking about. Yeah, he was talking about how many electricians were coming in for that project. You're like, holy cow! And I'm like, why wouldn't we hire people from Ohio? And the guy's like, dude, they're not here. We don't have them. We got
behind the bell curve on that one.
Yeah, I think everybody has. So yeah. So how long did you do the carpentry? So stuff?
I was in the field until 2008. 2008, I became a carpenter instructor. So that was after my last tour in Iraq. And when I came home, I was on a medical program for a while, getting healed up with my ankle and my leg. So when I finally got through that CBH program, or CBHCO, I think it was called. But when I finally got through that, I knew I couldn't hang drywall. I couldn't keep up as a carpenter. So I was lucky. I got an opportunity to be an instructor. So I did that for 6 years. Still talked to Valley. I felt like I was still, with my company. I finally got an opportunity to come back on the safety side. So,
So we just blew past all our military stuff, but we go back on that. So so you have your carpentry career that's taken off. So obviously you've got you're in the reserves, or the reserves, and now you have 9/11 comes along, changes everybody's life. So first deployment's in 2003.
It is, left over in February. Was deployed for just over 15 months total on that one. So went to southern Iraq, down by Buka, then up into Baghdad on that one. Came home for a year and a half. We were home for.
Let's go back to the point. What was that like? You found your profession, your career. All of a sudden, you find yourself in Iraq. What were some of the challenge of that?
I wasn't ready for that. I can tell you that. I don't know who was, but
that's some honesty right there.
Yeah, being in the reserve system, I'd been in for at this time multiple years. So there's a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of rumors about reserves, and some of them are true. We had a good times, and we took it kind of half serious, and we were a little bit out of shape and this and that. But when we deployed over there, we were still. We were definitely unprepared, right? We got that up training at the very beginning, and it was digging foxholes still, right? So you don't dig foxholes in the desert. Yeah. But it was an eye opener. I think I definitely grew up in 2003. I was still a kid until then. I still didn't have. I had vision. I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know how to get there yet. But in 2003, going through there, and
so how old were you in 2003 when you went?
So I was 20, 25. So I was a little bit older than most, right, at that time. But when we were on that road and you're in charge of a squad, like that was a big growth for me. I wasn't prepared for that. So here I am, in charge of 10 people and whatever it was, 11 people at times, and that was tough for me to. That was my responsibility, right? So
it's scary as fuck, man. Like, be honest with you, it's like
I was like, I can barely take care of myself, and now I got to take care of all these folks, and they rely on me, and I don't know what I'm doing really. I don't know how to do this, so I'm making the best choice I can, and I'm trying to act like I got it together, but the truth is, we all just faked it till we did figure it out, and eventually we did figure it out. We got pretty good at it, but it was very scary at times, you know?
Yeah. I mean, thanks for you being honest about it. There's few people to be honest about, but yeah, like it's crazy. Like when you look back at the amount of responsibility that's thrust upon you, like you're supposed to know this, but you don't. You can't tell anybody you don't. There's, you know, all these people to look into you for the answers. And yeah, there's many times it's like, man, like I just want to run away and scream. You know what I mean? If you're being honest with you, but you just can't. Yeah. And I'm with you too. I feel like there's some key moments in my military career, like early, that you grow up really fucking fast, you know, and you have to.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. I mean, I think it's like when I feel like the same way when I had a kid for my first child, you got this, you know.
Yeah. You figure out
you got to grow up. You got to grow up. Yeah.
Quick.
You got to, there's some things that happen, but yeah, there's definitely, what was the hardest part for you deploying for that 15 months?
My daughter, you know, my daughter was young. There's a cool picture. I should have grabbed that one for you, but you know, it's us at the reserve unit and she's wrapped in a pink blanket and I'm kissing her goodbye. And that's all I can think about for months. Right. And then I realized like, I gotta stop. I gotta get my head here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first time, you know, you experience some stuff over there, like you realize like, I got to focus, you know, not just for me, but again, I have these group of people that are depending on me, you know, and I kind of buried that and I feel guilty about that today, but I mean, that's just what you have to do. A lot of people can understand that.
Yeah. Don't, man. I think about it a lot because when I left to go to Afghanistan, I was a company commander and I did not have my wife come or my kids.
Yeah.
That whole everybody leaving. And I wanted nothing more just to be with them, but I just didn't have it. Like I can't, if they were there, I would have just been a bumbling mess. Yeah. And then, I mean, and that started like, so like, there's a part of me is like, I just watched all these people say goodbye to everybody. And I'm like, you know, I say goodbye to my wife before I left, but I say goodbye to the kids, you know, the night before. And yeah, like I just wanted to, I just knew I couldn't. And then like, I detached. That was my way of dealing with it all the time too. Is like, I had to sometimes forget that, you know, that that was even part of me. And there's a lot of guilt in that because it started off with like, you know, I have all these stories about, you know, why I didn't get on, you know, teleconference calls and all kind of stuff. And I'd say like, I wanted, and you know, other guys to do it, but the reality is like, I just couldn't deal with it. I had to pretend like they didn't exist. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way, I had to do it to survive. Yeah. So I mean, you're not the only one. There's you know, I don't feel guilty. You know, I mean, I don't think you should feel guilty about it. Just what you have to do to get through it at the time, you know, and kind of forgive yourself because it's just what needed to be done. You know, it's, you know, I think about that moment a lot of like, just watching people say goodbye and just like what I need. Like I would have loved to have another hug. And I'm just like,
absolutely.
and I just pretended like I didn't need that. And you know, I think about, you know, I used to think about a lot of that. I used to have a lot of guilt about that and shame, but now I'm like, it's okay. You know what I mean?
It's a survival technique that you have to have, I think, in that environment.
Yeah. Like, I mean, not everybody had it. I mean, I don't know if you have to have it. I don't know if I feel that way either. I mean, a lot of people are really open about like, some people didn't give a fuck about bawling, crying in front of like, they're like, that's how I wish I was. I mean, I wish I had the courage to be like, I think people need to see it. Like they need to see their leaders upset and crying. They need to see that we have a fucking family just like them and not pretend like, you know, I'm some kind of robot that I don't have feelings because I did. I had a ton of feelings.
Yeah.
So I don't know if those people have it wrong either. You know what I mean? I feel like more as I've gotten older and some of the transformational work I've had, like, fuck, these guys have seen it all the time. I used to just harass the shit out of like dudes that would be like, when we were deployed or away from your family that were like, I'm going to go back and call my family and just like, oh, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Your family's there. And I'm like, man, these guys had it right. I mean, they had their priorities right. You know, I'm the one who had it wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause I miss my family just as much as they did. I just pretend like I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, you bury it. Right.
Yeah.
And you know, it definitely was hard. And in 2003, you didn't have as much communication opportunity. Like we went 4 months without calling home. So nobody knew what happened.
Yeah.
You know, nobody knew, you know, obviously nobody was hurt at that time or anything. You would have found that out, but nobody knew where we were at or doing. And, you know, you don't spill that with OPSEC anyways, but I mean, they just hadn't heard from anybody. Like, so the wives were calling around saying, hey, have you heard from anything? No, we haven't heard anything. So that was hard. You know, but getting through Iraq, like, you know, later in early 2004, you know, it got better, right? It just got better. In that aspect, we moved into a log-based sites, which was by Augsburg. So we started experiencing a lot of mortars. So that was like a whole nother level, right? So now I kind of learned that you're right. Those people had it right. I'm calling my wife a little bit more. I'm on the phone with my mom one day and some mortar rounds come in. They shut the phones off because of an injury. And I remember, oh man, I've never been yelled at by my mother like I did on that next call. But, you know, that was the first time it set into me. Like I knew we were in danger. I knew things can happen. But again, the mindset was different for me, you know. But what I did to my mom was probably harder for me to deal with than what we went through. Right? Yeah. So it hurt them a lot more not knowing, and knowing that I wasn't telling them the truth or being honest with them, which again, I don't regret that. I would do that again, I think, but you carry a lot of it on your shoulders instead of letting people help you with it. So, yeah,
I mean, we talked about this a little bit before about when maybe it's a good time to talk about it, but, yeah, I don't know if I have it that it's okay not to be completely honest with my family about a lot of the stuff that happened, obviously in the military, and then also the stuff that when I'm dealing with complex PTSD, like what's made me who I am today. Sure. Just as like, you know, and I'm okay with that. I mean, there's a, you know, I try not to be like, you know, you know, a lot of it was, I can't lie. I don't want my family to look at me differently. Yeah. That's okay. Like if you look at me differently, I don't really care. But you know, there's still a part of me that cares about, you know, that look of the things you talk about, those things to see, or you know, you said about before having to be strong for your family, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. Like, so I think there's some stuff that I compartmentalized, some stuff that I wasn't honest with, but I look back at it now and being like, I could have been more honest.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have to withhold everything.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm now, is like, there's some things I definitely don't, you know, I don't try to go back and explain things to my boys. You know, my boys are 25, 23 and 21 soon. So like, it's fine, but I just try to like be more upfront now where I'm at with how I'm feeling about stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good, healthy way to be.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's how I look back to this before. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's a right or wrong about it. I just, it works for me. There's some stuff that like, I can talk to other Chuck 3, you know, safe men, that I don't need to talk to my family about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also have it to that sometimes you said before, to be like the leader, right? To be in charge. Like I wasn't being honest with myself. So I don't know if they saw someone that was really
it's a good point.
Truthful either. You know what I mean? That's kind of why I wanted to talk about it on air. It's just like, I think about that. I'm like, cause I was masked up. I was not telling them how I really felt, you know what I mean? Yeah. I pretended like I didn't miss them. I mean, there's all these things that I did that I was really doing it to protect myself.
Yeah.
Instead of being honest with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I totally agree. Even with my daughter that's 24 now, like it's really hard to explain to her some of the stuff. The way I've compartmentalized, and I don't know if it's exactly healthy, but there's a Foot Locker with everything I want to tell her, you know, in the end, and it's under lock and key. Mm-hmm. She knows it's there. She knows what's in it. And I'm just not ready to talk about those things yet, you know, but everything else I've shared with her and I've been open with her. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think that's helped us a lot. You got to get comfortable, you know, to me. I have to be comfortable, and I'm just not there yet. I think I will be, you know, but it's just not today. Yeah,
I always struggle with that same thing too. Like, what do you like? You know, I'm in, you know, a men's group that meets every Sunday. That's one of the things I always talk. I think I'm the oldest one that goes there. Shane might be at the same age as me, but you know, there's a lot of part that goes back to like, you know, when I went to Save Aware a couple of years ago, and then started what I considered like. What I consider my, you know, my recovery and my transformation of things. It's like, I don't know if I'm really like, I used to say that too. Like at some point I'm going to go back and tell them about who I am. Right. And I don't know if I think that as much as more. It's more of like I'm just gonna be present like I never was before, and I'm gonna be like somebody today, so they can kind of understand who I am today. Because I have it, they're really never gonna understand who I was back then. It's like I didn't fucking know who I was because I was lying half the time too. So I have all that same stuff, but I'm just more focused in today's world to be like, just be present, be honest, and you know, as honest as I can be with them, and hopefully they see me for the man I am today, because I mean, I didn't do everything right. I mean, nobody does. But yeah, I don't know if I'm in that, because that's what I lived a lot of my life, of like wanted to justify why I did something. You know what I mean? Like I saying to them that I, you know, like a part of me wanted to go to war rather than stay at home.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know if I ever have to have that conversation with them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're, I don't know if they'll ever understand that. I look at how the men they've grown into, and that's not something they even remotely can process. And a part of me is happy about that, because, and honestly, like I had a lot of shame that a part of me was going to do that, but I'm okay now in my life that I'm like, I get it. Like, it's okay for me to say that. Like it's just, I don't think they can ever understand that. I mean, like when I talk, but I can talk to another veteran like you, and we understand what that means. I can talk to, you know, any veteran, and everybody can understand. I mean, part of me wants to stay home and not do this.
Yeah.
A part of me was scared, but a part of me also wanted to go and do all these things. You know what I mean?
You crave that adrenaline.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that part that wanted to go do those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make me a bad person. And it's just interesting when you look at that, you know, because that my first appointment was that same time frame as yours, you know, 02, 03. Wasn't a lot, you know, there wasn't a lot of experience.
No,
it'd been a while since we had done that to that extent. So it's a different world.
When they hand you a Vietnam flak vest and say go at it, like
well, we didn't get those, but it was we used to laugh about the reserves. But it's just
mine had a date on it, so
it's always interesting. But
it's funny what you said really hits. When I came home, I felt out of place after that first tour. Those 2 weeks of being home, I didn't know what to do. There wasn't help. There wasn't. Basically what they said is, do you want to talk to a counselor? Yes or no, down the line. Right. Yeah. And we were just unprepared, you know, as a nation, but coming home, and then 2 weeks later, I volunteered for my next tour. I knew exactly when I was leaving again.
So why'd you do that?
My unit, a lot of the guys in my unit, 26 of them decided to go together, and I was one of them. So, you know, I don't regret that, but that was, like you said, maybe a choice that a lot of people won't understand, you know, but those 26 men and women, you know, said they wanted to stay together, that we knew we were going to get deployed again. Right. We were pretty confident. So
was there any part of you that didn't want to do it?
No, that's I lived for that. Honestly. Like I said, I had changed my whole mindset that I was going to get through this, and I was going to be part of this, and I was going to make a difference. Right. And when it came up, hey, do you want to go with us? There was no hesitation. And that cost me, you know what I mean? It cost me a lot in my family. So
elaborate more on that.
I came home to the second tour to a divorce. So my child spent 3 years not knowing who her dad was when she was 6. So over half her life I spent overseas or in training to go overseas. So that was a costly decision. Not one that I regret, but I do question, like, should I have thought about that just a little bit more, you know? So, but no, it changed the whole trajectory of my life, you know?
Yeah.
You know, now my daughter's in a divorced house, right? Going through a divorce, you know, trying to readapt after the second tour with, you know, when I came home, I didn't have my house that I just built. In between tours, I built a house. Luckily I got the house at the end, so that helped me get through PTSD a little bit better, but I had nothing I left with, you know, so that was really, really tough for me.
So is that when you think the PTSD stuff started creeping in, or?
Yeah, I would say after that second tour, I knew my military career was probably pretty much over, which I was fine with by the end of the second tour. I was okay with that.
You're like, I made it bet now.
Yeah, it's like I made my decision. I don't regret my decision, but I was okay with that. So I knew that was over, and I knew my life had changed drastically. And I realized I had caused a lot to my daughter, that I'd have to figure out. So I was okay with that, but that's when it hit me, right? So I'm not going back over. I wanted to stay in, but I knew I probably wouldn't be able to. And I knew now I have to really focus on everything else now. Cause again, even in those 5-6 years, yes, I was married and, we had a family, but I didn't really, I had the carpenter as a career for sure, but now I don't have anything else. I don't have that thing I dreamed about as a kid, so what am I going to do next? And that really did affect me. For a few years, I was bitter about it, getting some surgeries and stuff like that. But then, I kind of came to a conclusion that I just got to accept it. And I ended up getting retired.
So is it like when that's happening though, was there anything, how you were acting out or any type of like, what was like with the anger, like what was going on? That
I mean, I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia. I still suffer from insomnia. My average a night is 1.5 to 2 hours sleep. So I can function on that. I don't know how, but I do. But nightmares were really bad. They started probably after the second tour, I'd say about 3 months later. So in this process, again, I'm no longer at home, right? I'm in Virginia Beach. I'm at Fort Eustis, Virginia. I'm in a dorm by myself. I got my own little hotel basic room. I'm by myself, so I got nothing but my thoughts, and they came in pretty strong. So the nightmares, the hopelessness, what am I going to do? What's my career going to be? I can't be a carpenter. What am I going to do? How am I going to support my daughter? What's next for me? So I would go to Virginia Beach in the middle of the night. I would drive down there at midnight. I would sit at the beach, watch the whitecaps come in, like just thinking, I couldn't sleep. So what else are you going to do? Right. I would take the night CQ, as my duty because nobody's around. I don't have to deal with people. During the day, I would sleep all day. Quite honestly, I took a lot of Percocet with the pain, made me sick. They gave me Vicodin, and I found that I actually got addicted to Vicodin, which is one of the reasons why I talk about opioids, and we can talk about that later. But I didn't overuse them, like not that makes a difference, but I found myself waking up or taking them at time intervals, like almost like clockwork. And one night I woke up, I took these Vicodin, and I realized like, I don't need these. I'm actually getting better. And it hit me right there. And I'll never take another one again. But that was the part of that where I think I snapped out of it to a point where I realized like I was in PTSD. I was having anxiety. I don't know if I really realized it until then, to be honest. Like,
did you ever think about taking your life?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never got serious about it. I had a gun with me. It was in my truck. I had a bullet, I was like, this is the one I'll use.
I think
never chambered it.
Just by definition, that's taking it pretty serious.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah, just to tell you that.
Yeah, I agree.
Not to laugh at, but that's
as a mental health expert,
talk about it. Yeah, that's taking it pretty serious, my friend.
But I definitely had a plan.
Yeah.
I had the ideology. I had the plan. I never acted on it is the way I should say that, I never chambered around. I never put it to my head, but I definitely thought it through. And I never really told anybody that kind of stuff until about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to a degree when you're not comfortable with it. And then you realize like it's not embarrassing. It's just what happened. And you got through it.
I mean, I like how you said that, man. There's nothing. Me too, man. Like I felt such shame in it, like that. Who do you talk to about that, right? Who do you say, hey, man, I'm really like, how you doing today? Oh, I'm not doing great. I feel like fucking driving my car into an embankment at 120 miles an hour. There's not a lot of people that are ready to have that conversation. So I don't know. I don't think anybody should feel the embarrassment, shame, all that kind of stuff, because we're not the only people that felt that way. We're not the only people that feel that way anymore. I mean, that's I've tried to figure out when exactly it started for me, but I gotta say, like, it's like, it was like a 15-year thing going on for me, like where I thought about it fucking constantly.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm so glad I never acted on it. You know what I mean? I got really close, but yeah, I mean, but when I look back now, there's no, I can actually smile about it.
Yeah.
There's no shame in it. It's like, I just, it's what a lot of people feel. And like, people have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And going to Save a Warrior for me was huge in that, to be able to talk about it and be able to now to like, I have no problem telling people that, I'm more, the reaction to me is more funny is when you see people that try to tell me like, oh no, you weren't, there's no way you were thinking that. And you're like, I was. Yeah, I was. I mean, I know this is very uncomfortable for you, but it's not uncomfortable for me to talk about. But no, like, I mean, that's, and I'm glad you brought up the opioid thing, because when you said that before, like, it may be hard for some people to know that are listening, but like that was the phase in the military where like you were getting Vicodin and Percocet, like it was candy. And I don't know if I overused it, but I definitely used it when I shouldn't have been. Like, I mean, like it would be like, honestly, like I'd have it in a bottle of it, and I'd say like, hey, like I'm not really feeling that great today. Like, let's go take a Percocet and drink a few beers and just fucking pass out. Yeah. Or this part of my body hurt. Let me take this. So it comes from a time when it was like,
it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah. I mean, but it was also a time when like I look back and I'm like, damn, man, the military was like, I mean,
oh, they were horrible.
Like I think about having like the amount of like Percocet I had in my house was like, holy shit. If I sold one of these pills,
they would give me a bottle, like an amazing amount, like 30-day supply. And I mean, I know there's a lot of safeguards in it now, and people are more educated, and I know that was a long time.
Yeah,
but
and it's funny. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've never, the only drug I've ever done is alcohol, but obviously I've done an opioid because I've done Percocet and things like that. So like when I look about it, I was like, holy shit, maybe there was a point of me that was like, doing that. But I'm like you now, like, and I've had a couple of surgeries since then. I don't like, I take it maybe for that one day that I have to, and then I just fucking get rid of it. There's no need for it, because I know what I was using for the numb.
I just tell them, how many ibuprofen can I take? And like, I'm afraid that addiction, what I mean, knowing what I know, like, I don't think it would happen. I don't think there's any medical reason, but your mind works different. You can't prove how that works. So
I'm glad you shared that, because I mean, I look back at that before, because I was so far, I don't think I was overusing it, but I was definitely self-medicating, right? Yeah. And it was easy to do then.
Yeah, I mean, 800 milligram Motrin is what we handed out for a headache.
I do love Motrin though. Still to the day. I mean, if I feel something, a twinge or something, I start taking Motrin. It's something I think a lot of people, like my wife always freaks out. She's like, I'll be like, can you give me some Motrin? And she's by there and she gives me like one pill, and I'm like, it's 200 milligrams. What are you talking about? Give me like 8 of those. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's always crazy to watch the. If you're ever in the military, that's one of the interesting things about that. Like Motrin, I didn't realize until I got out. Do you remember like they give you that big gigantic bottle of Motrin? Mm-hmm. And like I didn't realize that was what like the pharmacy fills prescriptions with. When everybody got it, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, it's prescription strength. But the bottle was like, if you go to Kroger or Costco when they fill it, that's what they're filling out. I'm like, wow, I used to have that in my house.
Take 4 every 4 hours. Here's 30 days supply.
Yeah, I feel like if joking aside though, like if I've taken a shit ton of Motrin, so I wonder what it's done to me over.
I'm sure.
There's
a reason why a lot of us have stomach problems and everything else, right?
I wonder why. Taking
told you to drink water to flush it back out of your system, I think.
I'm always like, I do laugh because every time my wife's like, that's too many of them. I'm like, yeah, you're fine. I wait till she leaves. I'm like, okay, put some more in my palm. And like, why do we just make them in 400 or 800? It's a lot easier. So I think you shared a little bit. You medically retired in 2013 timeframe. Luckily, service connected. Yeah. Still has got to be hard. What was the hardest part of like you saw, you spent some time. You mentioned earlier that you were going to see this through 20 years. So obviously that didn't work out. No. You come back after 2 deployments. Your life is your personal life's not great. Yeah. Now the military part of which has kind of caused it is going down the frames. Like what was the hardest part of you, leaving the reserves at that time? Was it like losing what was going on in your mind?
I think it was my, again, I had a good family, good upbringing, but it was the stable thing in my life. Like those groups of people in my reserve unit, they were my friends. Mm-hmm. We were very close, like any military unit, but I mean, we hung out off duty, and like I said, Matt's like a brother to me. He's definitely the big brother that I have, and a lot of the other guys too. We still talk. I thought I was going to lose that, and I didn't. I did lose some. A lot of people didn't understand, how I felt or whatever. I think I lost some because I didn't stay with the unit when I came back, and I went and got medical treated. So I think I lost a few friends there, but that's okay, But the core people that were in my life in the unit that were there for me in Iraq and here, they were here for me.
I think like the reserve, I always look back at you guys. A lot of you guys did, you come back to the same place. For me, it was kind of like a dual hit for me. It was like losing friends, right, and then it was like losing purpose, right. I didn't have that purpose anymore, which was hard to do. But like when I look back at it, I still look sometimes, and that's hard, because people that you spent all this time with, just, I got out, they went here, they moved there, and then before you know it, I haven't talked to some people that I talk to every day for a long time, for like 10 years. I talked to them every day, and talked to some of these people in like 14 years, so that was hard.
I mean, one of my best friends, Garn, he moved around, and we were super close, and then he moved away, and we talk, and I mean, that'll never go away, right? But he meant a lot to me, and I hope I meant a lot to him, but he's got his own life. I got my own life. So we don't talk like we used to. And that hurts, but that's two-way, that's
you can always pick up the phone, right? Chris.
Yeah,
just call him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
because he's probably feeling the same way you're feeling.
I hope so. You know what I mean?
You'll never know until you call, right?
Hey, absolutely. We see each other every once in a while. I stopped by last year, I want to say, at the camper and said hi, and he's passing through. But, that kind of stuff really affected me. But now, I you said what it was that was my rock bottom. I didn't have a home. I didn't have my family. My child was affected. My child's going to be raised in 2 homes. I'd probably done damage to my daughter, right, in a way of being gone and not being there for her. So that kind of hit me really hard. That's when I hit rock bottom for sure.
So what's rock bottom look like for you?
The gun in your hand, you know what I mean? Thinking about it, just not being able to sleep, not being able to focus. So mine is more anxiety based PTSD. I had the nightmares. I got the nightmares under control with talking to psychologists. That's a funny story how that started. But I mean, rock bottom was like despair. I didn't know what to do. And it took me a while to figure that out. Once I came home, I went back to the reserve unit, was drilling, every day with them, AGR, on the medical program. I went to school. I got some education to try to find a pathway. I finally figured out I had a career, so things started looking up. I got my house back. These things started turning around, right, after a couple of years. Right about when I was starting to retire, like right about when I started that process. So things started turning around, and I started seeing some hope, you know what I mean, of getting to the other side of it. But man, when you're in it, you don't see it. Like I didn't see it for a while, but once I started seeing it, it got heavy. It got real heavy. But yeah, after that, I mean, I went to work as an instructor, started helping people. I think that's what really got me out of PTSD. It still affects me, but it's not like before. I started teaching people how to have a career, right? And that means a lot to me. Like to be a teacher, an educator, a mentor, that's huge for me. When I got into safety in 2014 at the company, I had a new family, had a couple step kids at the house. I really started getting my purpose as a safety officer, safety manager, that I can help people every day, and that is my way of coping with my past,
Yeah.
And that has expanded into a couple charities and, everything I can do, I just love giving somebody a different view.
Yeah. I think it's amazing to hear you say that, because it's something I think a lot of people I don't want to say they have it. I'll talk for me. I had it wrong of what service was, right? Like I served my country, all that kind of stuff. But like, that was a big thing to me. Like serving, like, being of service to other men has been,
it's awesome,
life changing to me.
Yeah,
absolutely life changing. Like when you walked in, I was talking to, I saw a brother from California. Like you saw me texting. I said, "Hey, I got to go." But finally, I understand what that means to be of service. Like, yeah, I don't say that what our service to our country, but like, honestly, you know, where I'm at in the organization with Save a Warrior, being able to go back and serve, you know, to clean dishes and clean up after and all that kind of stuff. Like these simple things that like it's brought me so much purpose. It's something that's like I needed to be like. I've learned what I've learned what my purpose is. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain to a lot of people unless you feel it, but yeah, being of service to other people, it doesn't, you know, I say it to men because it's the organization I'm in, but like, it's changed my life.
Absolutely.
Me being accountable to them. And then in some cases, them being accountable, like truly accountable to me.
Yeah.
It's been life changing. It's like one of those things of like, holy cow, like, and in that interaction of being of service is like true relationships have started, right? Like true, like friendships, true. I can call somebody today and tell them how I feel, right? Or that I'm not doing well. Or that I'm not proud of something I did. And like tomorrow they're not, you know,
judging.
They didn't tell 5 or 6 other people. They didn't, you know, that judging me. Like I still have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And that's huge to me. I think that, and I challenge anybody to be of service. Like it seems like the craziest thing to do it, but you got to figure out what works for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've recently watched it with my wife, which it's crazy. You know, my wife, super busy. We're empty nesters now. My wife started volunteering up at Stock Hands in Delaware.
Yeah.
It's changed my wife.
Absolutely.
She doesn't, I mean, I think she sees it. I see it like her in a different type of person, like, cause now you're of service to other people. I think that's what we've been missing for a long time. You know, that's what I've always been, you know, I think I was of service when I was in the military, but, not the same way, to where it's really like, it's what I've been looking for my whole entire life, you know?
When you're helping when you're helping other people, I feel like there's a moment that know that you connected, you know, and you know that you have a chance to make a difference when you're connected. Right. And to get somebody through a situation is just way more gratifying, knowing that you may have gone through that or not even gotten through it. Right. You're experiencing something similar, but knowing how to help them get to people that can help them, that to me, that is what makes me healthier, you know?
Oh yeah. 100%.
So I feel like if you took my charities away from me, you know, my charity work, the charities will go on forever. I don't have to be part of that. But if you take the charity effort, the giving effort, what you said, being of service to somebody else away from me, like that is half of me, at least, you know. The other half is my family. Right. Yeah. So, you know, my family's everything to me, my wife and kids, my grandkids, you know, even my dog, like that's me. Right. But even them they understand that need that I have. And that's really awesome. So,
yeah, I think it's interesting that you say that, because I mean, I don't know if I want to say this on camera, not yet. My priority is a little bit different than what you said, but one of my top priorities is actually to be of service to other men. Yeah. But I have that is pivotal to all my other relationships. It's my purpose. It's connected to my higher power. It's connected to where I've always meant to be. Right. Like, so that's the relationship that's most important to me. But like the funny thing you say about the family is like, you know, I've talked about many times, it's just a shocker, but like I have, you know, I do a men's group meet every Sunday. Dude, nobody in my family says anything to me about that.
Yeah. Like,
when are you going to be done? Why did it take 2 hours longer than normal? Are you guys meeting this Sunday? Are you guys like, it's just, and cause I feel like by that connection I have with other men and the work I'm doing with them they're seeing a change in me, and it's making, like you talked about earlier about being a leader of a family and being who I am. They're seeing who my true authentic my thing is. Like, that's a non-negotiable for me. Like, I'm gonna go see those guys. Like, it seems completely crazy to some people, and I don't give a shit. But and I don't give a shit if my family doesn't like it either. To be honest, but that's not the case. They kind of just see that it's the same thing. Like, but I feel the same way when because I shared with you before. Like, every year, I think when you start the podcast now, like you brought up a number like 87. You know, I can see, like, go online and be like, all these people have had like 200 episodes, whatever. But like, I start every time I do it, I'm like, holy cow, this has been going on for a long time. And a part of me is like, okay, when do we stop this? This is a waste of time, whatever. But like, I'm like, there's a connection that's here before. Like, there's a connection that, like, if you haven't been here, like, there's, I've been waiting for you to come in here for a couple of years. You know what I mean? And that's important to me. You know what I mean? I don't care if 40 people watch or whatever. Your story is out there. It's, we've captured your story. And we've been able to connect.
Absolutely.
And I think that's an important thing. So when you talk about, but I don't think I'd say about what you said about we wouldn't be complete. We'll find something else to do. Like, if we weren't, active involved in, Save a Warrior or Ports with Patriots or some of the things we do are too tough to talk. We can still find ways to serve.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be of service to other people. And I think that's what everybody needs.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's changed my life. That connection that, and you said it too about, like, connecting. Like, I can't, the men that I talk to, like, I can get super emotional because, some guys will call me with some really awful shit that's going on in their life. And a part of me is like, dude, I am no different than these guys ever were.
Yeah.
Like, I may have been even worse about it. Like, I don't deserve these guys to be calling me to talk to me, but the power and the healing is like that healing that we have together, that, like, I can talk to you. I can share my experiences with you. Honestly, and give you, how I have it, or how and it's changed my life. I mean, these guys I talk to all the time, I'm like, man, I think I used to think it was hokey. When people say, like, you're saving my life too.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, my connection to my service to other men has changed my life. It's saved my life.
I think every time we're able to make that connection in a positive way, right, that gets you more wholesome, builds you back up.
Yeah. Cause to me, I mean, it goes deep down. That's why I love conversations like this. And I knew it would probably get to this point with you and I, but, like, I don't really give a fuck about me, to be honest with you. For a long time, I didn't. So that's the other part about it too, is like, when I have a connection, like, to be of service to other people, I have that's helped me change my life. To be like, I have it that it's okay for me to be accountable to other guys, and I like something that I normally would just say, fuck it, I'm not going to do something, or I'm going to let a part of me take over that shouldn't and do something I should be doing. I'm not going to do it anymore, because I got to look another dude in the eyes and say that. And because to me, I don't give a fuck. For a long time, I could go in the mirror and, like, lie to myself. I can't do that anymore. And I sure as hell can't do that to other people, other men anymore. You know what I mean? That's been pivotal to me,
There's something pure when, another man comes up to you and says, hey man, that was too far. You shouldn't have done that. Or what do you need?
Yeah, I have a quote that it reminds me of this. Sorry, I don't normally do this, but I think it's pretty it's kind of spot on. I should have it memorized. I wanted to. The conversation reminds me of, in the men's group we were talking about that accountability, like, we're talking about the accountability and stuff that's happened, but I think, and when I can find it, I can't find it. It's like the worst part, like,
never
like, come on, Chai. I'm just looking at all the ridiculous memes in the same chat, but it says, when a man comes to you and tells you your own story, you know that your sins are forgiven. And when you are forgiven, you are healed. That's from Ernest Kurtz. So it's kind of the thing when it comes to when with working and service other people. When a man comes to you and tells you your own story, you know that your sins are forgiven. And when you're forgiven, you're healed, right? And then that's where you can be like, I think there's nothing more powerful, and I couldn't. I'm blessed to be part of an organization around just a bunch of healed warriors that all they want to do is
help others,
heal other people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a powerful thing. So
it is.
So let's talk about we're on that same aspect. So what made you start Too Tough to Talk? What was like, I can kind of relate to you with starting something. You asked me off camera why I started this. So now it's on you. Like, what made you decide to start? First of all, tell us a little bit about what it is.
Yeah. So Too Tough to Talk is a organization that gathers resources for somebody in crisis, right? So one of the hardest things that we found with construction workers specifically, which is very similar demographic to the military member, we very impatient. We want all that information right now. And if we make one phone call and they don't answer, that's it, right? A lot of times we won't make the second. So we realize like we have to get this information together. So when somebody is struggling, maybe even at a suicidal, condition, that we have to have the information. We will gather their insurance, their employer assistance program, what is in their area, where can they go, who can they call. This was a little bit before 988 came out. 988 came out right after this. So there was a group of safety professionals together up in Northwest Ohio, and there was 7 or 8 of us at the time. And we're down there and we're trying to figure out what to do, right? And a couple of them very passionate about how they wanted to do it. So we figured out, the method, the website. We got some folks to go out and do classes. I started writing curriculum for them, working with psychologists, sociologists. And it kind of morphed into this huge thing. I mean, there's people from California that hear about us every once in a while and stuff. And it's really awesome to have that. But it's really focused on the certain areas, right, to get that information, the base of the program. So now we're being called just today. So somebody's in crisis. What do I do? Okay, well, here's your options. You can take them here. You can call 988. You can take them over here. We can get them to the help that they need, right? And that individual, took whatever action they felt appropriate, and we'll leave it at that. But that is the whole purpose of Too Tough to Talk, right? So that a lot of our society doesn't know about 988, which is a phenomenal number that's been around for at least 5 years now.
I don't think it's that long.
No,
I think it's less than that, because I was like,
might be.
I think that number is less than 2 years, because it used to be the whole 1-800-273-8255.
Yeah. Or the 212.
I want to say it's only a couple of years, but I mean, it's still pivotal.
So we're pushing that. We got little poker chips, it's got 988 on the back and our program on the front, so they can get information. And that's really the goal of us, is to promote education, change some of that stoic culture, right? Where, it's in construction, it's not just men on men, but it's everybody. So we talk about that culture of, in construction, we always say, be a man, or, man up, or pull your britches up and get it done. Right.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more colorful than that sometimes, but that kind of stuff really stops people from wanting to reach out and say, I need help.
Yeah. Cause I thought that, I know that you have your military background, and, I've obviously talked about, each other's organization before, but like I didn't realize that is it a critical issue, suicide in the construction industry? Yeah. I knew that from what you're doing, but as I was preparing for this, I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen a number in that, but what you just said kind of does remind me of it. It's a demanding job. It's a job where a lot of people are trying to look good. It's a lot of suck it up, drive on.
Suck it up, drive on. You're traveling. You're away from your family.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a job where if the weather's not bad, you don't work sometimes, or today I just saw some dude I was some people working outside today. It's fucking 13 degrees in Ohio. That's got to be rough. Yeah, no, but I mean, it is, but it's rough. I mean, it's not easy.
But that's what drives the numbers up. In that industry, you're 5 times more likely to die of suicide in construction than you are on a job site. So there's over 3,000 people that die on a job site for occupational stuff, right? It's things I work on safety. 15,000 people in construction die from suicide. But we're not talking about that, right? Because it's uncomfortable, you know,
Right.
and we got to make it more comfortable. I think that's one of our biggest missions at Too Tough to Talk, is to break that barrier to say, hey, you're going to hear about it, right?
Yeah.
And if you hear about it enough, you're going to start realizing it's okay to talk about it. And I think we have done that. I mean, it's in industries or companies that have utilized these kind of programs and started talking about it, people start opening up, right? So, but yeah, it's a crazy number. And I always ask, you know, looking at construction, same thing in the military, like the numbers were there, but we didn't look at them, right? When we came back in 2004, when you came back as well, you probably didn't have a psychological evaluation. You had a questionnaire.
Yeah, a question that I lied on.
Absolutely.
100%, yeah.
Because you're afraid to get held over or sent to a doctor, you know, and we all did it, right? But the truth is we need to spend a little more time and understand the impact, and a little bit of treatment goes a long way for people. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love this because I feel like, you know, there's a lot of talk. I mean, there's never been more talk about first responder, warrior class suicide, but it's an epidemic that's going on. Like, you know, like that just, it blows my mind that it's not just happening to veterans. It's not just happening to law enforcement officers. It's, you know, we just may happen to be in a lead on it, but like, yeah, that's an interesting number to know that many construction workers are taking their lives. You know what I mean? So like in your experience, I mean, you have a lot of experience with that over the past years. Like, you know, if someone is, you know, a family member of a construction worker, like what are some of the signs that you, I mean, you have it that the same signs as you see now? I have it that they're always the same signs, like isolation, you know, numbing, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the same thing. It's depression. It's not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
In our industry, we see a real direct correlation to the drugs and the alcohol at that point.
Yeah.
You know, going through family problems at home and not being able to get through them, starting the divorce systems, you know, cycles, you know, going partying all the time, coming in reeking of alcohol or whatever the next morning. So, I mean, it's the same signs that you could say of PTSD, really. It's a depression. It's the anxiety, like all of those things. And again, in our industry, you spend more time at work than you do at home, right? Which is most industries, but you really do spend more time. These guys are working 10, 12-hour days. And if the industry is not willing to say, hey, look, it's okay, come here and talk to me, I'll help you, right? That gets buried, you know, and it becomes a problem. You know, it comes into that drinking or whatever coping mechanism they pick, right? And maybe even, you know, completing suicide. So
yeah, I think it's important. I mean, I did ask that question about what the signs. I think a lot of it comes from the honesty from up front. Is like, it doesn't matter like whether you're a construction worker, nurse, whatever. Like if you're having problems, talk to somebody. There's so many organizations out there that that you can do that. I think the first step is, I've always said, you know, that you gotta, we talk about be resilient. You gotta talk to it. You gotta eventually talk to, like, by talking about suicide, my own thoughts of suicide, my own plan of suicide, my own, you know, has been life-changing to me. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big key in all that stuff, is like, I think a lot of it is also, you know, there's an onus of, it's on the person, individual. I looked at before, like there's a lot of people that we're always, I've rarely heard anybody ever say like, oh shit, I knew Che was going to kill himself. I can't think of anybody that said that. So I think a lot of it is like, if you're feeling like, it doesn't matter what you're doing, like fucking talk to somebody. Somebody wants to listen. You know what I mean? Like 988 is huge. Like call it, talk to the people there.
They're not in your family. They're not in your employer. They don't know you.
No. Yeah.
So they're not going to judge you because they have nothing to judge.
Yeah.
So it's safer to start with, and then you can progress into better treatments, right?
So, is Too Tough to Talk where you thought it would be? How many years now since you started?
So we started right before COVID. Little bit pause there. So 19, late 18. It's more than I thought it would ever be. Like, it was just some people kicking around an idea, and that next thing I know, like, I'm flying out in February to Washington to do a mental health conference with some of the nation's leaders of mental health. And,
Yeah.
we're talking about opioids on this trip, and I'm on a panel. I don't know how that happened. Honestly, like, we thought we were just going to talk to some construction workers in Toledo area, and now we're known for what we do. There's some other programs kind of modeling after that too. So it's pretty awesome.
So what are you most proud about with
just all the volunteers? Like, it's amazing the amount of people in society that want to help. Like, you always hear about, whatever, you hear about the worst of everything, but when you put on like a mental health event, and then you get 150 volunteers to come out and help you, it's like, whoa, I didn't think we would have that much help on a topic like this. And I think that's amazing. The amount of kindness and amount of empathy the world can really have, I think that outweighs a lot of the darkness sometimes.
Yeah, it's like just when you said that, all joking aside, it reminds me of the real world. Like, what happens when you start lying, and that's the truth. Like, start lying and tell the truth. Like, that's exactly when there's such a power when you're honest about what's going on with you, that what it can bring.
Absolutely.
So where do you see, like, Too Tough to Talk in like the next 5-10 years? Like, what would
we're expanding. So, we're still staying roots to our Northwest Ohio, but now we're over in Cleveland. So we got some really active people that want to pick up the torch there and start teaching even more people. So, I mean, that doubles our exposure. I don't know where we're going to go from there. It's up to the board, but I can see it. If we can control the message and make sure that it's a healthy message going out and control that, I can see it expanding all across Ohio, really.
Yeah.
And maybe farther, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. So, as you know, with this, I'm sure you got to have a lot of committed people to get bigger. Right. And that's a big step. So that's what we're working on right now in Cleveland, see how they do. And
that's an interesting thing. Cause we're in some changes here that's going on this year. That's going to happen. Yeah. It's you gotta, I'm with you 100%. There's so many people that want to help. You just kind of, for like when you start something, it's always hard to let it go a little bit.
It is.
And just let other people take it over and go with it. But that's kind of how these things go. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's I think but there's still a party that wants to hold on to something you've created. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And there's also the scary. I think there's part too. Like, it's scary to watch something.
Yeah,
it's sometimes scary to see what can happen. And because for me, a lot of times I'm just like, I'm more of like, when we do something, still part of me is like, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And I sometimes can't, I just can't take like a step back and be like,
yeah, it is enough.
This is pretty like significant what we did. Like, just like, take a deep breath and enjoy it and be proud of what we've accomplished as a group. And I'm more like more. So
I see our stickers in different places. I mean, I was at the Marion Popcorn Festival, and there's a mental health booth there, right? And I stopped in. I'm like, this is awesome what you guys are doing, man. I was like, I do something similar. Yeah. Well, who you with? I said, Too Tough. Oh, my son heard you talk at this wherever refinery in Lima. Like, really? Like, that's the small world. And then it's the validation that you don't need, but you love getting, that you made a difference,
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. So back to where your niche is. So, like, if you were to talk about, like, what's your message to, like, because I think the construction, the blue collar, what would be your message to those people out there about when it comes to the mental health struggle, the dependency, the numbing of, because I know what you're saying before. I feel that's a profession that, like, you show up, you have, as long as you're not over the limit, like, nobody cares that you drank 16 beers before you showed up. Like, what's your message to that community?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of our talks are in the field, so I'll just kind of focus on that. Like, the actual blue collar worker is one message. The leaders are a different message, right? It's more about buying and programs and stuff like that. But when I go out to talk to the worker, I use their language. I just say, hey, how many people drank a beer last night? And two of them will raise their hand. I'll be like, come on, man. Come on, right? I seen you and you at the gas station, and I just kind of make a joke. And I'll say, okay, great. How many people are struggling today? And you won't get any hands. And I'll say, I find that hard to believe, because I know when I was in the field, I wasn't happy every day. I was worried about my wife having enough money to go buy groceries that day, or can I put gas in the car to get to work for next week, or how am I going to buy these diapers? So I just relate real struggles to them, and then I tell them, like, it's okay. Like, we got to stop beating each other up when they're not well or they need something, and be supportive. And I just try to keep it real with them. Like, I will be there for you. I care about you. I say this all the time, and I feel like our workers are just as important to me in responsibility, right, as my family is. I have a responsibility to them just like I do my family. Yes, that family takes precedence, right? I get it, to me. But those workers are just like that. That guy's got a kid, and I don't want to go to that wife or kid. And I tell him this, I don't want to go and explain why you're not here. I'd rather you call me at 2:00 in the morning and say, Chris, I need some help. Here's my number. And I'll give them my cell phone. And I get calls. I get calls from random people, and that's okay. But I just try to reach out to them at a human level, that, like, it's okay. And people do care.
Yeah, I think that's huge to be able to, because I still struggle with sometimes. It's like I gotta hold back my honesty sometimes with people, because some people aren't ready to hear exactly where I'm at with stuff, or what I went through. But like, I think a lot of those things are like, it's just because I think I'm at that point in my life where I'm not in denial about that anymore. Like, did I ever have a drinking problem? Fuck no. But did I ever, like, go to work feeling like crap because you drank too much?
Night, right?
Fuck
absolutely.
Yeah. Right. So, like, I mean, like, did I go to drunk work? No, but why am I putting myself through that? Like, I mean, that's like, I can't tell you how many times, like, the first thing I could think about coming home was like, I got to get a beer.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, it's not, like, it's, that whole thing. And I mean, and I love that you're calling them out, because I think a lot of it does come from, it's not, I don't know if calling out's the right word, but just being honest and saying,
just calling them out.
Yeah, a lot of it does come from that.
I've been there. I know what you're going through. Like,
you can't bullshit a bullshit.
Don't hide it. Like, it is what it is. Like, now, how do we fix it? Right. So, I think that's the biggest thing for the leaders. It's more like, you got to understand that those people, you're responsible for them people. And I think that's a gap in the industry, is that leaders are in charge, but are they responsible for them? And I think that's the message I try to get through.
I think a lot. I mean, I have a lot of, like, thoughts about, people get wrapped up and be like, oh, the military, the system should, like, the Army the military is a system, right? Like, it's not, the military is not created to really deal with mental health. It's really not. But I mean, there's definitely the big thing is definitely all these people that pretend like it's, like, somebody can have a bad day. Like, people are having bad days. I mean, like, as a leader, I think it's important to always be like, I have myself now at work as, like, as long as you're honest with me about something. Like, if somebody, like, I work for me, said, hey, like, I'm having a really bad day today. This is what's going on. I can't make it to work today. Cool.
All right.
I get it.
Yeah.
Now, if you do it, 27 days in a year, then we have a problem. But like, I think there's I think a lot of it, I go back to, because I had that is like, this person's not doing it for me. This organization's not doing it for me. You're not hearing me. You're not understanding me. When I started being responsible for that myself, I'm ultimately responsible for that. I'm ultimately responsible for communicating what I need and what's not working for me. But yeah, I think a lot of organizations still are
they're trying.
Not the greatest at it, but like, I don't know if that's, that's what these organizations are made for. You know what I mean?
I think everybody's scared to bring the topic up for legal reasons and this and that. And I think more organizations like Too Tough to Talk or CDCMHI Mental Health Initiative will give them those resources so they can say, hey, here, this has been vetted. This has been tried out.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help the industry.
Yeah. I mean, I think anything you can do. I feel like we talk about the suicide epidemic, like all these, like, I mean, all the hours I've talked about, all the time I spent on all the times the organization, like and we're not the only people that are dealing with this. There's never been so many people out there, but the number it's not getting better.
No.
So I think you just got to keep throwing shit at it until it sticks. It's one of those things. It's like, how do you stop this? And I think the only thing I know for a fact that the grassroots part about it, being honest and talking to people about it, sharing with other people, I think is the only thing I can control.
Absolutely.
I can't change, what the military is going to do, what the VA is going to do, what, volunteer system is going to do, what, BSF's going to do about it. I can't change that. I can only change it, one person at a time. And the big time for me was like, changing myself, you know what I mean?
I mean, the service that you're providing through here, most military is not going to want to talk to a clinical psychologist because they're not going to understand it.
Yeah.
Or we don't think they're going to understand it. Let's leave it at that. And maybe they wouldn't understand if they'd never been through it. So I know I talked to quite a few, and it's like, we're not going to jive here because I don't think you get.
Yeah.
And when you do find that, it's great. But if you can find another military member that gets it, so much easier to open up.
Yeah. I mean, I used to think that was always the case too, but I think yes and no. I'm not being adversarial here, but I think there's so many other people that understand. You just have to reach out to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, because I have it too, that, we haven't hit on it tonight, but I always do. It's like most of my problems and why I want to kill myself weren't anything to do with the military. It started before that as well. I mean, all those things that you've kind of mentioned in your same way, oh my gosh, divorce house. All these other, like it's all these things that have happened that, like, that's the thing of that's, you start to realize, like, holy shit, you're not the first person this happened to. Like, it's okay. I think there's so many people that really do care. You just have to open up. There's, like I said before, nobody I've ever known has said, like, yeah, I knew Chris was going to kill himself.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, we just gotta continue to talk. And that's what this is,
I would say 100% of my family would never even know, and probably have never really heard that in this podcast. They might, but I say this on job sites and I'm okay with that, but I don't think my family, it's not something we talk about. Right. So they'll probably be a little shockers.
I hope it'll go well. I think,
fine.
I mean, it's funny. I episode 87, like there's a lot of content of it. Be talking about, my suicide ideology, right?
There you go.
Save a Warrior is not, we make a joke that we're just going fishing. It's a 72-hour suicide prevention program. So, but the funny thing is that's not a conversation like I'm having with my sons. My sons aren't like, are you, Dad, were you suicidal? I think it's more important now for me just not to be in that. It's not an option anymore. It's not a thought. And if it does come up, I'm on the phone with somebody, very quickly to
how to get out of the hole now.
Yeah. I don't need, I think, dude, everyone's gonna be shocked. It's not just your kids. Everyone's gonna be shocked. I mean, I'm more. I've literally had a conversation with a lady I know. I bartend, so she was explaining to me. I was saying, hey, I had suicidal ideology for 15. No, you didn't. And she kept just going over and over. Like, you didn't think that. I'm like, I finally was like, I did. Oh, there's no way you could think that. I'm like, I obviously did. Like, I mean, I'm telling you that now. Like, I'm sorry that you're uncomfortable with that, but that's how I live my life. You know what I mean? And I think
part of who we were.
Yeah. I mean, it did consume a lot of my life thinking about it, and or trying not to think about it. It's more, I think, consume my life.
I think the crazy part of what I call my dark times there in Virginia, like, I didn't really know I was in there, but once I started realizing I was there, then I was able to kind of find ways to get better, and it took many years, but I didn't really know I was there. Nobody was, my friends, when I come home, I put that good face on, right? And I come home on the weekends, we go drink and go to concerts and have a great time. And, and then I go back to that dorm room.
I agree with you. Outside of my house, I was in denial about my denial. So there was no I knew that it wasn't good. I knew I was in a dark place for a long time, but on the outside, no, that's what I'm saying. When we talk to like someone that sees me, 2 or 3 hours every 6 months, they wouldn't see it. But
Yeah.
the one person that saw me every day knew something was wrong, and I just was like, yeah, I'm good, and I wasn't. That's probably that's the biggest hurdle where I'm at in my life. Is like it took me 50 years to, I don't say 50, but I can't pinpoint like when I started thinking about. It's not important like when I started thinking about killing myself, but I know that it like ramped up, like I'd say like the past 20 years, right? But like I was in denial about that all the time, but like my wife saw it every day. She saw something was wrong.
Every little change.
Yeah, kept trying to push me into one direction. I was like, I'm good, because I don't worry about it. I focus on something like, I was, joining a bourbon group, or I was doing triathlons, or I was like finding this hobby, that hobby, whatever, to just, so I don't know if I'm the same with you. Like I knew it was going on. I just didn't do anything for a long ass time.
Everybody goes through something different. There's nothing wrong with that. Like it's, just for me, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I was in my family, it might have been different, right? I might have seen something different, but to me, it became a routine. So, fake routine, but a routine.
Yeah. Cause to me, it was just like, I that's what I said before. I was like, I just knew I wasn't right. Something wasn't right.
Yeah.
And, I just numbed it, or found it just, look over there and like, book the different direction. But so that's always the thing. It was like, I think it ultimately comes down to, the pain was, I was done suffering, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what I was. And I think that's the whole thing is like, as much as that suffering felt, it's a hard thing that people understand, is like that suffering was, I knew what it felt like. It was familiar.
Yeah.
I could deal with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily scared of it. It was comforting.
Yeah.
And it just got a point to when it wasn't, you know what I mean? And that now, like I tell a lot of people that like, I know exactly what I can do every single day to recreate that. I just don't want to recreate that anymore.
Yeah. That's part of the healing process, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's like that conversation of calling, like I was just, it's funny. Like, it's not funny. I don't know. I say it a lot, like, but it's not, but, yeah, like I don't have it. That's a big deal to like call and like just cry to another man for like, like in the men's group, we meet it like in public places. I've started to cry there. I don't give a shit. Like if you're uncomfortable seeing the 53-year-old man cry, that's your problem, not mine. But I just don't hide that anymore. For the longest time, I was just like,
it's a lot of
strength. I can't tell you how I feel. Like sometimes I just need to cry. Sometimes I just need to mourn something. I need to be sad. I need to.
But I think if I'm reading into this, that is what gets you through it and helps the process.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of things going to, but I think that's the big thing of like all these things of like, I pretended for a long time. I can be sad to like I've talked about this a lot, is like the deep down thing for Che Miller is like, most of the time I'm scared.
Yeah.
Right. Or sad.
Yeah.
And how I mask that is through anger.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think I'm different from a lot of people.
No, now you got me thinking about what I.
No, like that's when I'm scared or sad, I get fucking angry. Like you and I were talking about it before about a topic. That's me being. I'm sad.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening if I'm not careful? I start sounding like an angry, disgruntled person, right?
Sure.
And that's what I just like. I know a lot of people would say that about me, like, you're an angry dude. I'm like, I'm actually not. I'm a sad, scared guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that upsets a lot of people, but I'm like, I'm sad a lot. I used to be. I don't think this is like, I think in my recovery days more, but I'm not that way anymore. But like, I still can't be like, if I'm getting angry, I'm sad about something.
Yeah.
Or I'm scared.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that now. I know I can talk to people and say, hey man, like this is going on, or what's going on with that, man? Like
now you got me wanting to think about what's I know my anxiety. I can understand or relate to that in a way. My anxiety builds to a point where like I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. And I can feel it now growing. So I can say, hey, I need a minute, right? At home,
Mhm.
at work. I know when that is, so I just jump in my truck, go down to the gas station for 15 minutes and come back, restart. So I can't tell you what makes me that, though. To be
Well,
honest.
and I think a lot of it, you
Yeah.
know what it's called? It's called curiosity. Like you gotta like, you gotta spend a lot of time reading some books that you don't want to read, and then start like looking at the thing under the thing under the thing
Yeah.
under the thing of like why you're feeling that. Like what are you sad about? And like a lot of it is like, it's just crazy. Like you got to be curious. Like
Yeah.
I mean, and that's that curiosity is like for me has been life changing.
Yeah.
You know, when you dig down and you're talking to somebody, or somebody says like, oh, I'm seeing this, you know what I mean? Like, but I think what you said was an important thing too, is like when, for me is, and a lot of people, like we're reactors to a lot of things. So I try not to react. Right. Cause
Yeah.
when I'm scared, when I'm scared, when I'm sad, when I'm whatever, I react. I get, and my reaction is to get angry or like have these things that happen. So like you said before, it's like if something's brewing with me, like I sometimes have to walk away. Like I mean, the walk away, like I walk away, I got to go take a cold shower. I got to meditate. I meditate a lot. Like when I'm feeling like I'm going to fucking snap, I just go meditate. And then like all of a sudden, like, okay, cool. But that's the key of all these things. Cause like we just have this way of thinking that you have to change that, you know, you have to be actor and not a reactor, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad you're thinking about it now.
No, I am really deeply, actually. No, I'm definitely a reactor. I let my emotions get ahead of me a lot.
Yeah, everybody does.
And I think that's like my anxiety builds, and that happens. And you make the wrong choices. You say the wrong things. You get emotional about decisions that shouldn't be emotional. But I think that makes us who we are too. But we got to know where we can tweak that a little bit to be a little bit better. So
yeah, but this is an interesting distinction, I think.
Yeah.
What you just said is true, but it's going to lead you back to the same feeling.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I talked to about before. Is like the reason you want to react is because you know exactly what's going to happen. I want to blow up. I'm going to feel this way. That's what you have to stop. You have to stop that, how your brain is thinking, and that's normal. That's normal. Instead of
why am I going to do that? Yeah,
take it, and I'm doing it and being like, I'm sad.
Yeah.
About this because you're afraid. Like there's a part of us afraid to tell somebody how we feel about something.
Sure.
Because you're afraid like the whole world, like you're going to get judged, the world's going to come crashing down. It's uncomfortable to say no.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, or I'm scared because of this, or I'm sad because of that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm guilty of it. I used to be like, how many times you ever watch a movie by yourself and you start fucking crying?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it happens.
But if there's somebody else in the room, you will fight back
absolutely
the whole thing to cry.
Yeah.
Why?
Do the nonchalant like
no, yeah, oh yeah, you'll pretend, yeah, you're like I'm gonna go like I've been guilty of like, but it can be like, but why do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's you're afraid of other people's opinions. It's something.
Yeah, you're afraid someone's gonna judge you. Like, dude, I mean, like. I mean, what I cry about is different than what I always go back to my son's like, I'm not an animal. I mean, I hate you see what I text you. I text every guest, like my dogs are assholes. You got to come in the fucking basement door. It drives me. It really makes me want to like, get super angry.
Yeah.
Cause I'm sad that I can't walk people into my house normally, but but I was watching the service dog thing and I was fucking bawling, crying. Like, I was just like, oh my God, like I'm not an animal person. I was just bawling. Yeah. And now like if I want to cry, I'm going to cry. Like, I don't give a shit what it is, but that's us trying to look good. And that's not, dude, that's every man I know. Like you don't cry, you don't do that. Like, I mean, like think about it. Like ask yourself why you don't want to cry in front of your 24-year-old your wife. Sure. Like it's completely ridiculous. Like they like I have it that they're looking at us like this is super sad, and you're over there trying to pretend like you don't have an emotion of it. You know what I mean? I don't think I'm not advocating that we run around crying all the time, but just be in touch with what
Yeah, I think that's a good key of it.
I'm a crier.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I need to be, I think for me, I need to be just more vocal of how it makes me feel. I don't know if it makes me sad sometimes or just frustrated. Like, I don't understand why we're doing that. Right. So
Mhm.
Like, I like this. You got me thinking about some
Yeah, I
stuff.
think, I mean, everything is like the feeling of like it's usually, I mean, we can talk about this forever.
Sure.
It's what I love talking about, but like you got to understand why you're feeling the way you feel. There's always something underneath it. There's something, like a lot of it is like something that you can't tolerate about yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's, you spot it, you got it. There's all these kind of things that you look at when you start looking at like why you're sad. Like, I mean, like I have one reason why I'm sad right now for being an empty nester.
Yeah.
It's how I see my wife as being, it's affecting my wife. That's what makes me sad.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, but I can, like, there's a part of me that I know she's struggling. Like, I was sharing with you about the pizza thing, right?
Yeah.
I gotta self-reflect on that, because like we just to share to the audience is like, no one's down here tonight. It's just you and I. Somebody else usually has a food thing, but my wife picked up pizza for us, and she said like she wanted, can we have some, like, get your own pizza? I thought we were going to bring it down here. I started before you got here. I was going to give her some. She said, well, one of my sons is coming home to get his, tag for his registration, or my registration. But, and I got to go back and talk to her, because when she first said it, I was like, I shared with you. I said, like, why are we trying to feed him?
Yeah.
Right. He's fine. And then when I went upstairs real quick to get my glasses, they're in there eating pizza together.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like a fucking dickhead about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
she wanted some
and like as much as I want to be down with you, I was like, I saw my son, I'm like, holy shit, like,
no, I get it.
Yeah, like I mean, like they're hanging out. That's cool. Like, and there's a part of me that's sad. Like, but it seemed like I get it now. I didn't see it from a point of view like that. I can go back and say I shouldn't have done that. I was being, and if I look back at it, if I'm being honest with you, the whole thing, I'm sad for her in that situation that she's not having. But you know what else I'm at? I'm sad that I'm not spending time with them.
Yeah, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard. People say like there's a part of me feels jealous about it. I'm like, shit, as much as I want to do this, like, shit, my youngest son was up there, like,
yeah,
dude, I love just sitting in a room with him and bullshitting and eating pizza and finding out how his first week of school is going. Yeah, and so what do?
Yeah,
I act like an asshole. No, I act like an asshole. No, I say something that's what you have to look back at what you're doing. I mean, and that's how I live my life now. It's like I'm not hung up by it, but that's the reality of like the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm the emptiness with it, but I mean, because I'm kind of going back on what I said now that I think about it. I'm sad when I get to spend time with my kids too. I mean, there's a part of me when they're here, I get jealous. Like she's up there hanging out with them. Yeah. I'm sure he's left by now. Maybe he hasn't. But yeah, I mean, it's just being able to look at why I'm doing that and then making amends with her and saying, hey, like, I mean,
that's real world how it works, right?
It can be exhausting, but I challenge, I implore that everybody to do that. I mean, it's exhausting. It's but I've never been happy about it. I mean, I can go up and like I can just.
Now you can have a conversation. Yeah,
because I think it's like you said before, like that original thing you said earlier about being honest. Like I can be honest now with my wife. I can say to her like, hey, I should have said that to you, because what I realized was like, holy crap, you're gonna have dinner with Goobs. He's gonna be mad that I call him, and I didn't, and I'm sad about that. So sorry, you know what I mean, or I apologize. You know what I mean, it's is what it is. You know what I mean, but I think a lot of it is just to be able to find out what your true emotion is, because a lot of it, what you think you're feeling right now is not what you're really feeling, Yeah,
I agree with that.
And I can just tell you what mine is. I mean, I can't tell you what anybody else's or like what yours is, anybody else's, but I just know that I'm not an angry dude.
Yeah.
But
I come off angry a lot too, but it's just, I can't process it fast enough, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, it's reaction, but you just have to like look at what you're, it's literally taking a deep breath and stopping the reaction because but I guarantee you, do they consider you angry at work?
Probably like certain groups. Yeah. I would say yes.
And for me, it was
other groups look at me as passionate about protecting people.
Yeah.
So I would say with certain groups, most definitely I come off angry.
Yeah. I think for me, like the anger was like, anyone that I felt comfortable with, where I could take my mask off and like,
Yeah.
So home where I feel
Yeah.
like nobody's going to be, I can't lose. Like I used to think I can't lose my job
I'm not worried.
at home.
Yeah.
Which is a joke, right? Like,
right.
wow. What are they going to do? Is my wife going to leave me? Yeah, she can.
She can.
Are my kids never going to call me? Yeah, but that's why I felt like, that's how I felt like this was like my, like I could like take, and that's happened before. I think in professional modes, like sometimes like where you let go, but like, but generally when I knew I couldn't act that way, I could change that. And I have that the same way now is that how you have to be professional. We all can do it. Like I can go at work without saying profanity.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not acceptable.
That'll be pretty tough for me at times.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know what I mean, but like there's some things I think
you can.
We all can. I think when you're safe, when you feel safe or you're in your place.
Yeah.
For me, the worst came out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Ours is it's almost a common language in construction, like it is in the military. But as an executive, I try not to. I try to pick my words a little wiser. I try to speak a little better, but sometimes that filter gets a little thin and things come out, but no, I get what you're saying, and being real to yourself, being real to what's going on, I think is very important, right? Self-awareness is another, in that same, just like a lot of times when I say something, I'm like, why did I say that? Like, I know I didn't need to say that or shouldn't have said it like that. And it's that extra couple minutes of reflection that I'm working on, you know what I mean, personally inside. But why do I do that? That's now you got me up for a couple nights thinking. So
I mean, I'm gonna mess this up, but I shouldn't. But it's like the saying is like, does it need to be said? Yeah. Does it need to be said now? Does it need to be said by me? And if it doesn't, here's what you need to do: is just shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
that everybody could.
That's the third time I've heard that from leadership.
No, it's not even in work. Yeah. It's a reality of all kinds of things. It's like when you're at the lunch table, what is going in my mind? Does this need to be said?
Is this going to make a difference?
Does it need to be said now? And it doesn't need to be said by me. Yeah. And a lot of the times those three things always apply. Yeah. So I think it's like we could all do better. Like sometimes just to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and and it's like when I'm thinking about your thing is like when I was talking about the safety thing is like how I was in my house in the past was like my 14-year-old son can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Your 6-year-old can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like I used to like come unglued and say some shit because where are they going to go?
Yeah.
Right. But I knew I couldn't act like that at work because you're going to lose your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how I have that now is like those same pauses that I put into place at work are the same pauses I can put at when I'm at home or.
Absolutely. Apply it to all aspects of
life. I just try not to be that way anymore where I'm like worried about things that are gonna get me spun up, and if it does get me spun up, I just talk to somebody about it. You know what I mean?
That's doing better with that for sure, but a little ways to go for me, being honest.
It's all a journey, man. It's a lifetime journey. There's no finish line. So anything, we're approaching 2 hours. Anything else you want to chat about?
No, I mean,
the life of Chris Sanders, what you got going on?
Man, there's some funny stuff. You want to talk about that? Got time?
Funny stuff like what? What do you mean?
What I do? Like, I have. So I come off very serious all the time. Everybody says that. Like, don't you ever smile? Yeah, I smile. But I love making people laugh, and I think that's a gift at times. And nobody realizes it sometimes, but. I think you put a picture up, but
with your
I have a really unhealthy
that's an interesting
to
thing.
The poop emoji. So
how did that? I mean, what's going on with that? How did that start?
I have no idea. Like, I think it was a gift once. I laughed, and they're like, "Oh, it makes them laugh." So I literally have totes of this stuff. This is what I get for birthdays, Christmas, there's Valentine's. I got holiday emojis like. And I found this at Halloween a couple years ago. I found this blow up poop emoji costume, and I wear it all the time at the most inopportune times. So, I wore it to a kid's one of my wife's family, little boy's birthday, and he loves poop emoji too. So I wore this thing with a toilet paper gun, and I chased the kids around and threw them in the pool. You know,
I don't know if I have a favorite emoji though. Now you think about it. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's a healthy or unhealthy one, but I'm like, do I have an emoji that I'm like attached to?
I mean, I got a sign in my bathroom, would poop here again. Like, I mean, just it's really weird, and it's so off the wall. Like, it just makes people laugh, and I love that. Right?
Yeah.
So, just some goofy stuff. But I like doing the oddball things, and if it makes somebody laugh and gives them a good day, you know, at my own humility expense at times, that's okay.
I mean, I think comedy is a huge way to
when you get to know me better, you'll realize like that's not my normal demeanor.
Yeah.
Most people, like especially at work, they don't see that very often because I'm doing my job at work and it's a little bit different. They see a little bit, but not like that. And then when they see that on Facebook or something, they're just like, what are you doing?
So my mind's turning right now, and I don't know if we have enough time to talk about it because we'll have to talk off camera about this because this has me turning. Yeah. No, I mean, I think comedy is a huge thing. I mean, but I also have too that a lot of times when I was being funny about stuff, I was trying to hide something.
Yeah, it probably is a little bit.
I'm not saying for you, like, but
I love just getting people's reaction. Like to me, it just brings me joy.
Yeah.
I don't do it maliciously or anything like that, but it just makes everybody laugh. And to me, that's a good spot to be in, right?
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it making anybody laugh. I mean, that's and whatever you do, I'm just trying to think in my mind what my number one emoji is. I think it's the blue heart.
Now you're going to be up.
The emoji I use a lot is the blue heart.
Blue heart.
I use that a lot.
There you go.
The blue heart.
That's a good one.
Use the blue heart. I use the baseball. Use a whale.
Yeah. Yeah.
The LOL, which is like the laughing, like the normal one, but like, I'm not an emoji guy.
I'm not either typically, but this one, I think it was a joke from someone to me, and it just grew on me.
I love that you have a costume for it. That's
I
great,
do.
So.
I do. I got a poop hat too. I wear it at Christmas time. It's got lights in it. Walk through the zoo, seeing the lights with that on. Everybody's staring at you funny. So you just touch a lot of people that way.
I love it. So one last question for me before we call it a night. I ask this of everybody that comes on. So like, with all the attention that's focused on veteran and warrior class suicide in your case now with the, in the construction now, what is not being done that you think should be done?
I think we need to get away from and again, I can see the clinical side, but I think we need more advertisements on mental health that is personal, showing the vulnerability, and not just the clinical side of saying, hey, these people can help you, but just be a realistic ad, be a realistic message. So if we can get to that point where we connect again, that's going to change the cycle.
That's powerful. I think, when it comes back to what we said before, is like talking and just a lot of people are just uncomfortable with it still about, or in denial about that they feel the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we were talking earlier about like the guy that stole the plane.
Yeah.
In Washington, I think it was like 2018 or something. And, stole the Alaskan Airlines plane and flew it around. And if you listen to that, like, I can't tell how many times I've heard that conversation with him talking to people. Like, there's a part of me that's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But there's a part of me that's like, dude, I completely feel how this guy's feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna re-listen to that one. I remember,
and I'm like industry, like this guy said some stuff that's like huge that like you need to listen to him. Like everything that I've ever said. Like the one thing I remember today when I heard it was funny. It's how it pops up randomly. It was like the guy said, "I'm probably gonna go to jail for life for doing this, right? And a guy like me should go to jail for life." And I'm like, wow, I felt the same way about some of the things I've done in the past. Like I should be punished beyond, like, it's just, but like people will, if you look at those threads and people start talking about it, they're like, oh, like this guy's what, like, dude, like just to,
I remember
we all got a few screws loose, that's what I think he says,
I remember the very end, how calm he was. Right. Before,
it's almost scary. Yeah. Like I don't know if everybody remembers that. But like, I think he talks about doing the loop, right? Like doing can this thing do a loop, and he does it. And the guy says, hey, he says, hey, like you've had your fun. Let's land this thing and nobody gets hurt. And he says, I don't know. I kind of wish that was the end. And I thought about that, and I'm like, man, holy fuck, I can't I've felt that way too, and I think it's uncomfortable for people to be like, but it's exactly what you said. You have to start talking. You have to be honest and truthful about it, because that's the only way we're going to end this. And understand that everybody has felt, everybody feels down. Not everybody's. It's okay not being okay, and it's okay it's okay to talk about it. It's just, and I have you can't go telling your boss about that. Sometimes you can't, you have to be careful. Unfortunately, that's just we can't change that. But at our level, I think you can call somebody that really wants to care. There's so many people that care.
Absolutely.
That's the thing that, like, how we met. There's like every one of those people that Spike the Stigma, Mend the Mind. All those, like, those players care. Like that you got to call them. You know what I mean? That's why I think it's always powerful how we met. Is like if Alex had called someone, anyone that's in that league, they would answer the phone and care about him.
Yeah, absolutely. His sticker's on my box.
It's huge. I mean,
every time I open the lid of the box.
Yeah, and it's these are the things that you talk about that are realities. Is like, this is like, I mean, Katie's gonna kill me. Like, I think is it 5 years now or 6 years? 5 years maybe.
I'm not real sure. I came in like halfway through.
Yeah, so I mean, just the number of years they're doing, and the amount of people that are there, and the amount of people that are there for an extended period of time. We've been there for 3 years. It's like. That's what everybody needs to see. All those people loved him. All those people are still together there to, like, he had those people that cared about him. And dude, it doesn't matter what you think, man. It may not be your family that cares about you. It may not be your friend but just keep reaching out. Like, find someone cares. Someone is going to answer the phone. You can connect with someone.
It's probably the people right beside you. You just can't see it in the time.
I mean, I have it too, that it may not be, and it's okay. It's just, you just got to keep that's the thing, is like, I've never talked to my family about suicide.
Yeah.
They're right with me every day, but I mean, that's okay. I think it's just, you gotta find it. You gotta talk about it. You gotta get rid of it. It's a stigma. Like, I mean, that's what I love. It's a huge stigma of like, how could you can't, we can't talk about that. But then we want to,
it's scary.
Then we want to have like Facebook posts of all these dedications, all this kind of stuff. And like, talk about all these things and, or, like how great this person was, all these great things or the second part is just like, pretend like this person never existed.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I have such shame with the person, but I think a lot of it, I think I've said this before, and this is going to be my message this year, is like, a lot of it comes from me. The person that's feeling that way. You've got to fucking fight for your fucking life. You got to fight to find a conversation, but you're not going to fight as long as you think you have. There's people out there that care. I mean,
I mean, 100%. I mean, I would love for anybody to reach out to me. I don't have to know, I'll help them get through that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's who I am. That's who I feel like I should be.
Yeah.
But I'm not the only one. You're here. There's so many agencies. I don't think you can list them all that feel passionate about this topic and would help anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's the powerful message, right? Get it personally connected. And I think the conversations are working. This will work. This will touch somebody, I hope.
Yeah.
It's touched me. So I appreciate being here.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, this has been awesome. So.
I'm looking forward to it. So
sorry it wasn't earlier.
Yeah, that's all right. No, it's meant to be when it's meant to be, right? It's okay. So we'll get to the part of the night that I enjoy least. Tonight we're going to honor a sorry guys, I apologize. Tonight we're going to honor a veteran who unfortunately took his life. Tonight we honor U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer 4 Mark Joseph Simon. He was 58 years old. Mark took his life on November 29th, 2025 in Belgrade, Serbia. Mark was born November 27th, 1967 in Madison, Wisconsin. Mark graduated from Estolene High School in 1986. After graduating from high school, Mark enlisted in the United States Army, serving 6 years with the 3rd Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, before successfully earning his his Special Forces tab. Mark then left active duty to join first the Maryland National Guard and then the Rhode Island National Guard. Mark deployed to Kosovo, Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Iraq during his military career. Alongside his Alongside his part-time military career, Mark spent more than 30 years with the Defense Contract Audit Agency at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, as a federal government employee. Mark was well known among his family and friends for many things, including his seemingly endless affinity for grueling athletic pursuits. Mark had a lifelong love of travel and visited more than 25 countries in his life. Mark was a natural comedian and storyteller. Mark loved books, music, movies, superheroes, anything to do with Star Wars, Star Trek, and science fiction. Mark is survived by his wife, Elizabeth, daughter, Emily, son, Matthew, siblings, Michelle, Douglas, Deanna, Jennifer, and Eric, and numerous other relatives and friends. And please, if you or someone you know is in crisis and might be considering suicide, please contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 988 or 1-800-273-8255 and press 1 or text 838-255 or chat online now at veterancrisisline.net/chat. I have to say this is a lot harder to do all by myself.
I'm sure.
Josh.
I'm sure.
I don't want to admit to Josh, but it's
he misses you, Josh.
I miss you, Josh. No, I'm trying to figure out how to hide some of the stuff now. So this is when I need him. Awesome. So again, I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. I think, you know, what you're doing is awesome. I'm glad to see that you've fought through what you're fighting through, and wish the best for both the charities you're doing. Look forward to seeing you here in July.
Yeah.
And again, if there's anything we do to help, let us know. So
keep doing this. This is great. So I'll tell everybody I know. This is awesome.
Awesome. We got some openings for this year. So again, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. This has been episode 87. And until next time, be kind to yourself, honor the stories of our veterans, and remember, when you sit down with a patriot, the conversation's different. So everybody have a great night, and we will see you in a couple weeks.
Take care.